Hello and welcome to Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy, the Down to Earth Magazine Explained series. Bill Gates once said if there was one wish he had for India, it would be to get rid of malnutrition. Because malnutrition reduces the potential of children so badly and affects their reading ability. It's like 15 IQ points going away. So, our topic of discussion for today is malnutrition in India. And this is an overview of our discussion. Now, you must have seen in the news that recently the 5th edition of National Family Health Survey was released by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And the data revealed that the number of cases of malnutrition are increasing, and especially in the last 5 years, they got only worse. Now, let me give you an overview of what this National Family Health Survey is. Now, NFHS is usually released in multiple phases, and the present released phase is the first phase, and phase 2 results are yet to be released. And the present survey collected the data from 22 states and union territories. And it provides information on infant-child mortality, fertility, maternal and child health, nutrition, etc. And this 5th edition includes new topics such as preschool education, disability, bathing practices during menstruation, and methods and reasons for abortion. Now, before getting to know more about malnutrition, let us first try to understand the difference between hunger, undernutrition, and malnutrition. Because we generally have the tendency to use them interchangeably, but they are not the same. But before getting into these definitions, let me show you something. Now consider this as a spectrum of malnutrition. And here the terms hunger, undernutrition, and obesity comes under the same spectrum. Like hunger lies to one extreme, and undernutrition somewhere in the middle, and obesity lies to another extreme of malnutrition. Therefore, all these comes under the same umbrella term, malnutrition. Hope you got it. Now let's get back to the definitions. Now again, it is important to have an idea about these definitions because you can use them in your mains answers as a part of introduction. And if you can read here, hunger is defined as a condition in which a person cannot eat sufficient food to meet his basic nutritional needs. And this is mostly present in economically underdeveloping countries, whereas undernutrition involves maternal underweight, child stunting, child wasting, and other deficiencies. Whereas malnutrition represents all forms of pure nutrition, as we have seen here, ranging from extreme hunger and undernutrition to obesity. Now, this is found in almost all the countries, irrespective of their economic development. And if you can see here, this is a definition given by WHO, and such definitions given by international organizations are important because they can bring an edge in your mains answers. Now, in the previous slide, we have understood that hunger, undernutrition, and obesity are different forms of malnutrition. Now, let us get deeper and understand those different subforms. First in the line comes undernutrition. Now, this undernutrition is a condition seen in 3 different subforms. As you can see in this picture, here you can see a normal child is compared to a wasted, stunted, and underweight child. And here child wasting means children will be too thin for their height, and child stunting means children will be too short for their age. And underweight means, as the name represents, they have low weight for their age. And here comes the point to be noted that these 3 itself are the parameters which are used in measurement of malnutrition. Now, next comes the second form of malnutrition, which is micronutrient-related malnutrition, which is popularly known as hidden hunger. Now, before looking into this example, let us first try and understand what are micronutrients and what is the difference between micro and macronutrients. But first things first, our body requires adequate amount of nutrients for its various functions. And as our body cannot synthesize those nutrients on its own, these need to be supplied through external sources such as food. Now, these nutrients are of 2 types. One is micro and macro. And micronutrients are those which are required in very small quantities by our body. And its major function is to prevent diseases, help in growth and repair of our body. And these micronutrients are nothing but, as we can see here, vitamins and minerals. Now, whereas macronutrients such as carbs, proteins, and fats are required in larger amounts by our body to function properly. And their major function is to provide us energy. And if you can see here, it is an example of iron deficiency, whereas iron is considered as micronutrient. And as preventing iron deficiency will help children in improving their learning ability. Now, next comes overweight or obesity or overnutrition. But technically speaking, there is nothing such as overnutrition, but it is just that bad nutrition, which is not required by our body. For example, like the extra fat in our body. Now, hope you have understood all these basics. Now, let's take a step ahead and analyze the severity of problem of malnutrition in India by quickly going through some statistics and reports. Now, India's performance on key malnutrition indicators is poor according to national and international studies. And according to the first ever comprehensive national nutrition survey, which is conducted in 2019 by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare with the help of UNICEF, it is revealed that about half of all the children under 5 years in the country are either too short for their age or too thin for their height. And Global Nutrition Report 2020 says that 37.9% of children under 5 years are stunted, whereas Asia's average for the same is 22.7%. And 20.8% of the children are wasted, whereas Asia's average for the same is 9.4% respectively. And these statistics will be very handy for your mains answers and they can bring an edge for your answers. So make sure you remember these or note it down. And India is identified as among the 3 worst countries along with Nigeria, Indonesia with respect to disparities in stunting. And India has been ranked 94 on the 2020 Global Hunger Index. If you can see, it is in the 94th position compared to its neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan. Now, let's get to know the factors responsible for malnutrition in India. Now, as we know, malnutrition is a very complex and multi-dimensional issue caused by factors such as poverty and extremely low incomes, lack of sanitation and clean drinking water, and mother's education. If we come to this point, see, if the mother is educated, then she will make sure she takes proper diet with respect to her pre-delivery and post-delivery diet. And she'll also make sure that she'll provide proper nutritious food to her child after birth, which can contribute to all-round development of the child. Therefore, education, that is mother's education, plays a very important role in curbing malnutrition in India. And next factor comes neglect of female nutrition. Now, gender discrimination at homes between male and female children and patriarchy still prevails in India, especially in rural societies. Firstly, they are discriminated and provided less nutritious food, which leads to their malnourishment. And secondly, these female children who are malnourished are married at a younger age and then they give birth to malnourished children. There are probable chances that, or most chances that they give birth to malnourished children. And therefore, this is a vicious cycle in itself. And next factor comes monoculture agriculture practices. Now, this is very important because food grain production has increased over 5 times since the independence in India, but it couldn't address the issue of malnutrition. This is because for so long, agriculture sector in India focused on increasing mostly wheat and rice, which led to a lower production and consumption of other traditional crops, fruits, and vegetables. So this can be a factor. And the next contributing factor can be changing food and consumption patterns. Now, this is a contributing factor because over the past few decades, food consumption patterns have changed and the nutritious local food are often neglected. Like, for example, millets. Now that we have understood the factors responsible, now let's get to the question of why addressing the problem of malnutrition is important. Now, by now, we have understood that malnutrition is a very serious problem. And it doesn't only affect the children and women, but it affects human capital as a whole, which further impacts the economies of the world. Now, if you can see in this picture, firstly, investment in nutrition is crucial to achieving all the sustainable development goals, especially SDG 2, which talks about zero hunger, as well as SDG 3, which ensures good health and well-being of an individual. And it also promotes maternal, infant, and child health, and it improves their educational performance and also reduces the risk of diseases. Now, next comes few government efforts to fight malnutrition. Now, by now we have realized that the target group when it comes to malnutrition are pregnant, lactating women, children, and adolescent girls. So just have a look at this table and make sure you save it for your future use, because again, this information can be very handy for your mains answers, as these can be used in paper 1, 2, and 3 answers, like in your social issues, governance, government schemes, and as well as in your economy subject, food security. So let's skip this for now and move to few notable government efforts. Now, India has attempted to implement various nutritional programs over the last 40 years. And notable ones among those are Integrated Child Development Scheme, Midday Meal Scheme, and National Nutrition Mission. So first, let us briefly go through this Integrated Child Development Scheme. Now, this is one of the major flagship programs which is launched in 1975. And its primary beneficiaries are pregnant, lactating women, and children below 6 years of age. And this program adopts a multi-phased approach. Like you can see in this picture, this integrates health, education, and nutrition through a common network of Anganwadi centers. And the product is Integrated Child Development. And these also includes measures such as supplementary nutrition, providing supplementary nutrition, providing preschool education, health nutrition education, immunization, health checkups, and referral services. And here, a point to be noted is that from UPSC prelims perspective, when you read about government schemes, please make sure you focus on these 3 points. First is ministry. That particular scheme is introduced by which ministry. And second is whether the scheme is centrally sector or centrally sponsored. And the third is who are the beneficiaries of that scheme. So this is it for this scheme. Now let's get to another important scheme. National Nutrition Mission or Poshan Abhiyan. Earlier, they used to call it as National Nutrition Mission, and now it is being called as Poshan Abhiyan. And this Poshan Abhiyan's main vision is to ensure malnutrition-free India by 2022. Here, if we see the primary beneficiaries, one notable thing we can find is that it includes adolescent girls. If you can see in this picture, the target group present here are pregnant women, lactating women, children, and also adolescent girls. So whenever you think of Poshan Abhiyan, just remember there is also this adolescent girls. Next, as you can see, these are the 4 pillars of Poshan Abhiyan. First is technology, that is using some common mobile applications and providing call center support, etc. to reach out to beneficiaries. And second important pillar is convergence, as it aims to achieve convergence at national level, state level, district level, village level, and block level through various programs like Anganwadi services, public distribution systems, employment guarantee schemes, midday meal schemes, etc. And a third important pillar is capacity building. Now, this capacity building is done by providing necessary training skills, etc. And a fourth important pillar is behavioral change, that is the Jan Andolan. That is by impacting people and trying to bring a positive change by introducing different concepts, such as we see nutritional assemblies, and also by emphasizing specific days like the Yoga Day, Breastfeeding Week, and Poshan Mah, which means the nutritional month, which is observed in the month of September. Now, if you can see here, these are the components of Poshan Abhiyan. So this is it for the scheme. And finally, for a better future of India, a better way forward would be to address the multi-dimensional determinants of malnutrition at different levels in order to contribute towards a malnutrition-free India by 2030. And next, the vocabulary of nutrition should change. It should change focus and it should focus on quality of food rather than quantity of food. And next, there is a combined need of political commitment, scientific leadership, resources, and administrative infrastructure to improve outcomes. Finally, tackling malnutrition requires scope for innovative technology, innovation in supplementary nutrition, and behavioral change. But when it comes to example of this innovation in supplementary nutrition, I think we can talk about fortified rice. Now, if you don't know what it means, fortifying rice involves grinding broken rice into powder and then mixing it with nutrients and then shaping it into rice-like kernels using extrusion process. Now, these fortified kernels are mixed with normal rice in the ratio of 1:50 or 1:100 or 1:200. So this is it for today. So if you feel this content is helpful, then please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our channel.